Hello, welcome to Rauta stream. Sun is shining straight toward my face, and there's a very little thing I can do about it, lacking curtains at the moment. So, thanks for being on the stream with me. Now, I know that a couple of weeks ago I promised to do the stream outside. That was actually my plan today, but as it seems, the whole day has been raining, then not raining, then raining again, raining stopping, and raining. So instead of taking the risk going outside into the woods and then getting all soaked, well, I decided not to do streaming outside. So here we are inside, ready to answer your questions. I know some people might have a few, for example, about the Azazel video not happening or actually taking down temporarily, but you might also have other questions. So shoot me with them. This is more or less ask me anything and questions and answers. There is no particular topic today, but as usual, I'll figure out what to ramble to you guys wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Here, I'm taking the first stream beer. As you all know, who have been part of the stream, I always have a beer or whiskey with the stream to keep my throat moist and nice. So keep peace. Cheers to you people. This is Rauta. Let's start talking. So, hello, Wolfman, Hector, Belstad, Idel Sol Negro. How are you doing, guys? I hope July has been treating you well. Now, as I said previously, it would have been the perfect timing to go outside. It's not exactly super hot, but since it's been raining on and off the whole day, it kind of got ruined. Like a couple of hours ago, I was like, hey, it's not raining anymore. Taking a look at the weather forecast on my phone, and I was like, okay, it's going to rain. Now, my wife insisted it's not going to rain again, and what does she know? Some 45 minutes later, it was all again raining. And goddamn ponies are outside about to get wet. Now, raining stopped, obviously, a little bit before the stream started. So now I could, technically speaking, go outside, restarting that with my phone and all. But like I said, it might rain all over again, so it doesn't really make sense. And it's already sun going down. That's why you see my face all white here, because the evening sun goes directly that way. So, and I don't have curtains, lacking actually the new double windows from my man cave. Apart from that, you might notice, you might remember that the office space here, the man cave, the Rauta office, whatever you want to call it, is a little bit different than it used to be. Now, if you remember, the color of the whole office here was a little bit more wooden color. Now it's all gray. I know it doesn't really look like here because, I mean, the sun is shining and all that stuff, but it's pretty much all gray. The ceiling, all the wooden boarding, the cupboards behind me, everything is gray. And now there's new lamps also, which you might notice. They're a little bit brighter, adjustable, dimmable light ones, which makes the streaming a little bit easier. Should the darker months and days come later on. Now it's pretty cool to have this day or evening time sun directly. I have two windows here, or actually technically speaking more than two, but this is a corner place where my computer is set and where the camera is set. So there are two windows. During afternoon, I get all the sun shining from this side of the office, which is obviously on my left side, and on the right side, then again, it's the evening sun. So it's more like, it goes like this throughout the whole day. And my TV screen, which you are not exactly able to see because there's amplifier here. But besides that, there's this left speaker right here where my finger is pointing. And then there's my TV screen, which is there to, play games and watch movies and all that stuff. But now that the sun is directly shining from that direction and I don't have those curtains, it's obviously gonna just shine on the screen, which makes playing games or watching movies here at the man cave, in my man cave, makes it quite intolerable this time of the evening. So I kind of have to wait the sun actually go down behind the tree line, so it will be a little bit darker here instead of just shining. Now, usually, of course, when I have the curtains, I just can shut them down. I have those kind of shutters, and then I can just enjoy the darkness here. But now that I don't have those curtains or shutters, things are a little bit more complicated in terms of, light, controlling the light or the environment. And I'm already a little bit blinded because if I move my head like 10 centimeters here, it's gonna just directly shine into my eyes, and now I feel a little bit blinded. I can barely read the text here. Anyhow, all this rambling just to excuse why there's a little bit weird setting in terms of light and all that stuff here in my office space. I'll try to give you a little bit of photo material, or maybe I will just stream someday this whole office space a different way to show how it actually looks like here in the renovated office. The renovation took like 3 weeks, early weeks of June, when I was on vacation, not listening to metal or anything here. The whole space was all emptied, no gaming consoles, no computers, no tables, nothing really, fully just empty. And the ceiling and all the paneling, the walls and floor, all redone. The only exception, I guess, is the I don't know if you can see it, but it's the door behind me. Now that is the original door. It's just now gray instead of wood paneling, and behind that is my home gym, plus how you warm up a place, so the so-called technical room. But that's about my random ramblings and all that stuff. I'll read your comments and start answering your questions. So, like I said, I hope you guys are doing well. My phone is obviously beeping. Let's just set this do not disturb mode so it doesn't really bother me. Hello, Extinctionist Records Black Metal. How are you doing, people? Hector Garcia, you're very, very much correct. I would love to have a vacation in Mexico. Mexico is a great place. And Waldman is having California hotness. Sorry to hear that. Thanks about this Bothrower shirt. Well, one of my favorite death metal bands of all time. This is quite an old shirt. I have two Bothrower shirts. The other one is a long sleeve, but a little bit damaged. So now the sleeves are cut off. But this is even older t-shirt and still in better condition than the one that I bought around 2006 when they played here. Can't really remember where I got this from, but I'm sure it wasn't a gig, even though Bothrower mostly sells their shirts on, or used to sell their shirts during gigs. So I guess I got this from record store, early 2000s, back in the days. Hello, Belstadt. And rest of you. Well, as I guessed, some people will ask me what happened to Azazel interview. I will explain that in a few minutes, but first I will go through the random questions and comments here. Yes, Mark 13, I kind of understand the woodwork was nice, but I gotta say I am very happy with the all gray thing here. It's more consistent in style and not so 1980s style anymore. So different feeling, different atmosphere and all that stuff. Hector Garcia, I must say, I never actually listened to Punching Stents properly, so I don't really have an opinion about it. I know it's a thing I need to fix, but hello, Alex Rose, how are you doing? How's Ireland? Oh, Bellstead is having birthday in 6 days. Very cool. Congratulations in advance. I know that's supposed to bring you bad luck, but we don't believe in such superstition, right? 20. God damn, you're young. Well, good times ahead, I guess. All right, what else? Iho is having a Suntory soda. Well, Suntory whiskey, good stuff. Um, Roja is asking like I'm an interior decorator. What the hell? Who killed 16 Czechoslovakians? I don't get that. Hello, Paul Walsh. Nice to have you here. Oh, Manchester. Yeah, Circle is known in Finland, obviously. I've never actually listened to them, but yeah, they have a really strong cult following in Finland. Here, I'm happy to say we haven't had a roasting hot for more than a week now. It used to be over 30 degrees like a week before, but this week has been more or less around 20 degrees Celsius, so pretty perfect, I could say. Oh, Destroyer 666. Well, that's one of my favorite bands, actually. That's my favorite band from Australia. I tried to get them for an interview at Steelfest, but didn't happen. All their albums are good, in my opinion. I started listening to Destroyer 666 before Unchained the Wolves back in the days. I think it was very early 2000s, might be even late 90s. I'm not really sure anymore. But yeah, I found the band back in the days, and I remember ordering Unchained the Wolves CD with my friend when it was fresh. And ever since I've been following the band, seen it live a few times. They actually, a couple of those guys, Shrapnel and KK Warslot, actually were drinking beer at my place around 2004, I guess, when they played a gig here in my home city. And a mutual friend who was organizing the gig kind of invited those guys over to my place. So I had the pleasure to invite them to my home, offer them beer, and have good chats with those guys back in the days. But yeah, it was 2003 or 2004. Most likely 2003, actually, now that I think about it. Because I had brought some export beer from, one of those boat cruises, and I had plenty of those beers in my freezer, so they were really cold, and we just would drink beers before heading to the venue. They were really nice guys, and I actually have a signed copy of their EP somewhere here. I'll try to get it. Hold on, give me a second. I think I have it here somewhere. Yes, I found it. So here is a Destroyer 666 EP, which I got when they were playing in my city, and those guys invited me to sit on their table. I don't know if you can see it other than by reflection, but here is some autographies by the bands, as you can see, maybe. They're done with the, ballpoint pen, so they don't really stick out like if they had been done with some kind of a magic marker. But yeah, those guys gave me this one. And their Abraxas is actually one of the best ones, in my opinion. So yeah, really nice guys, and polite, having fun with them and so forth. But haven't met those guys for years. I actually met KK Warslot at Wacken, I think it was 2008 or so. Didn't know if he even remembered me, like 5 years prior to that. But yeah, we had some random chat. So met those guys a couple of times and seen them a few times playing live. So good, fun memories of those dudes. I know they can be really toxic. So, they have had real reputation because of their talks and all that stuff. And it's kind of a shame if they really don't remember me, and because that might have helped to do the interview with me. But I don't know. Who knows? Maybe someday. Might be someday it will happen. But a great band. Rojas. Yeah. I didn't remember that Sopranos thing. Yeah, great series. I've watched Sopranos twice, totally. And Destiny Latta is also asking where is the Azazel interview. Like I said, I will be talking about it in a couple of minutes. Now, Abisik is also asking me if I visit Cult record shop occasionally. I've been there a few times, drinking even beer there, but haven't been there for years now. But yeah, I know the owner. Oldman, I hope you have finally a proper drummer. Vigri is asking if I have any thoughts of Satyricon Munch latest release. I haven't yet listened to it. I know it's out and I should be giving it a listen at some point via streaming service, but I have totally forgotten it. Bellston is asking, is there any funny / silly black metal drama recently? Well, kind of this Azazel thing, but I will get back to that. Anastasia is asking if I'm planning to do interview Oransi Pazuzu. Actually, I hope to do it, but there is no current plans. But should the stars align, that is, should they play at some sort of an event where I'm taking place, I would love to interview those guys as well. Hector Garcia is asking if I listen to the band named Lock Up. I remember Lock Up, some kind of a super group many, many years ago, and I remember them doing very fierce material, the Wayne of Napalm Death, but better. But haven't been listening to them for years, but I remember them being a good band. Smeagol is asking if I have plans to do Goat Moon interview. I've asked this question so many times, and I wish sometimes people would actually take a look at these Google Doc things, which has information about my interviews and reviews. But the thing here is, Goat Moon dude, Black Goat, told me last August that he's not interested anymore doing in an interview for Rauta or any kind of stuff. So I don't think Goat Moon interview is happening. But with that link I just provided, you can see most reviews I've done for Rauta. You will see an interview tab, and from that interview tab you can see which interviews are already agreed to be done, which interviews have already been done, and which are certainly not happening. So there is that. Give that link a look and you will know what kind of interviews have been planned or declined. And regarding Destroyer 666, since that you kept talking about it, my favorite full album is Defiance. I know that it's not most popular one, but it's my favorite, followed by Cold Steel and Phoenix Rising. A great band overall. Hello, Charles Sham. How are you doing, man? And yeah, Old Shining is good. Indeed, Belstad, I agree. Moro Lucas, what is my opinion about Polish black / death metal scene? Well, Polish scene is great in my opinion, especially in the black metal side, but there are good death metal bands as well and death black metal bands. So overall, I don't care if we're talking about big bands such as Behemoth or Vader, they are good, or whether we are talking about Graveland or Enwa or some smaller ones. I've reviewed a lot of Polish bands, and you can see that from the link I just provided. In general, I think Poland is one of the strongest countries in Europe when it comes to releasing extreme metal. Poland is a big country and there are lots of good bands, and I think people in general should pay more attention to what's happening in Poland's metal scene. Mark 13 is asking if I have new tattoos. No, I haven't had a new tattoo for years. I've been planning quite a few, but nothing has been happening for the past 10 years or so. Hello, Charles. Nice that you asked about Mustankuun Lapset. I think it's a decent melodic, kind of a dark black metal band. We actually played with Mustankuun Lapset, I think, like 3 times back in the 1990s with Nightside, my band where I'm a vocalist. And nice guys, but haven't really heard the band for many, many years. I remember them being nice blokes, and the music is definitely decent, even if not totally my cup of tea. I guess they're a little bit too dark metallic for my taste properly, but yeah, nice guys and decent band, definitely. Smeagol is asking what is the best album I have heard this far the year. I would say Vatine's new album, but there is also one other one I'll get the name because I keep forgetting. But so far with Vatain, the best album this year, or actually three favorite ones for this year, is the latest Evergrey album. I know it's not for people of black and death metal usually, but I love Evergrey, and the new album is very strong. I'm supposed to get my copy from Napalm Records during the summer, and I will review it, but it's fucking great. And Vatain I mentioned, and also that Freya Tides album, which I reviewed a few weeks ago. I totally think you should check out Freya and Vatain if you haven't so far. Freya is not for everybody. It's kind of a post-black metallic, very strong atmosphere, but it's beautiful and it's well-made album. What makes it even more interesting is that it's a couple behind a band, like a man and woman doing together that kind of music, and I find it very beautiful and captivating and memorable one. But there are lots of bands on my pile. I have almost 350 review albums, which I won't have the time to review this year. So there will be some albums which will be postponed, but I'm focusing on 2022 albums in order to make fresh reviews. So who knows what kind of stuff I will be digging up in my pile. Hello, Durza Sinister. How are you doing, man? Yeah, if you're ready to send Wendell demo, I would definitely take a look and review it. Or if you don't want it to be reviewed, gift is very interesting as well. So feel free to send it. You should have my address and all that stuff. Yes, Hector Garcia, I am ready for the NFL. Been waiting for the season to start and looking forward how Patriots are going to do this season. So yeah, when the season ends, I'm always a little bit, like stuffed with the, whole NFL stuff, and I kind of need that pause. But towards the summer we go, and by the time summer has passed, I'm getting once again that hunger for more sports. So definitely, I think that's one of the highlights when, September sets in. I mean, the weather gets colder here in Finland. It gets more rainy. The people start looking more uglier. It's not like women look great when they're wearing lots of clothes and when it's, gets more chilling weather. But the one thing I can always wait for with great enthusiasm is when the NFL season starts. So definitely waiting for NFL to start this fall again. What else? Hell Dweller is asking, could I do another Satanic War Master interview? Now, I'll tell you this secret. Last August, when Steel Horde's festival took place, because there was no Steel Fest in 2021, we had a long talk with Satanic War Master for something like 40 minutes, I think. And that was supposed to be the second Satanic War Master interview to kind of be a sequel to the first one, which is now blurred, done in 2018. And that 2021 Satanic War Master interview was supposed to be there to answer the questions. With the first one raised a lot of questions. Why it was blurred, why Satanic War Master did this and that, and blah, blah, blah. Lots of things. But I'll be honest with you people, he wasn't satisfied with the interview because, frankly speaking, he was too drunk. So while in my opinion, it was totally fine and it could have been published, he didn't want to. He wasn't satisfied with content, and we agreed once again to do another Satanic War Master interview. When and where, I do not know, but we have agreed to do it. But like said, there is an unpublished Satanic War Master video interview done almost a year ago. So yeah, let's see how it goes. Terve Kirkkopalon varoitus, welcome to the stream. Belstad is asking if I have checked out the band Portal from Australia. I have, and unfortunately it's not my cup of tea. I guess it's one of those way too weirdos, way too avant-garde bands for my taste. I know the band has following and people like it, but it's not for me. Trader's Death is asking what I think about new municipal waste. Yeah, I think it's good. I think we totally need that kind of music because they're one of the torchbearers of fun and good mood trash metal, the kind of old school Anthrax style, if you will, but with a modern touch. So yeah, Municipal Waste is a good band in their own territory, and even if it's not for everybody, I think that kind of a trash metal is definitely needed. And Smeggle is asking what gigs and festivals do I have planned for the rest of the year. Now, I don't know about the fall or the rest of the year. I mean, in terms of the 3 last months. But if things go as planned, there will be a Knotfest, that is Slipknot Festival, happening here in my home city um, in early August. Now, that will be mostly about mainstream bands. And if things go well, if I get accredited with my cameraman, uh, I will be planning to see and interview bands like Slipknot, Nightwish, Cradle of Filth, Arch Enemy, and the like. But so far, I haven't got a an answer if we are accredited, and I know it will be totally different than your typical Steelfest or Inferno interviews. So I know it's not for everybody, but I also like to see sometimes those bigger bands, and I think they make good music, and it's nice to pick brains of those bigger bands as well because it's totally different than say Azazel and the like. And in mid-August, I am going to Norway with my photographer, and there is Midgård's Blot festival for 4 days. It's black metal and folk and Viking metal for 4 days, and that will be interesting. There are lots of good bands playing. I recently made a video about it, so in case you want to find out more about the whole festival and what kind of plants are playing, I suggest you give that one a shot. 4 days with Vikings and black metal bands and all that stuff. It really is interesting to me. Now, towards fall we go. Anthrax is playing a gig here in my home city as well. I think that was in October. I am totally looking forward to that, and I hope to finally get the Anthrax interview. That would be a certain kind of a dream come true. I've been listening to a lot of Anthrax recently and making my worst best slash ranking video of Anthrax discography. I know everybody doesn't like it, but Anthrax for me is one of the best thrash metal bands on earth. Then there is, of course, Steel Chaos later in October, and I will be going there for 2 days. It's the kind of an autumnal version of Steelfest, but only 2 days. So far, only Venom Inc. has been published of all the bands playing there. So I don't know what bands are going to play there and what bands I'm going to interview, but I'm really looking forward to that. Then there are some smaller events which I don't even remember. And then there's also this Metal Fucking Hell event for 2 days here in my home city once again, taking place this fall. And there will be bands like Yoth Iria and Massacre and Prestige playing there. I totally would love to do Yoth Iria interview, and that should be pretty much agreed because I've been talking to Jim Mutilator since 2019. Darkness Guides Us festival in Scotland. We kind of befriended each other there, and since that we have been planning to have this interview. So I hope that now finally 2022 Yoth Iria interview is taking place. They were supposed to play already earlier this year at Turku Saatanalla event where my band Nightside was playing also, but due to COVID-19 restrictions, there were no foreign bands at Turku Saatanalla. So Yoth Iria was basically postponed from early March to the fall of 2022. But yeah, plenty of gigs and festivals happening, even though June and July are pretty empty for me. But onwards we go towards August. There will be festivals and gigs, so I'm looking forward to do more interviews and see some proper gigs. Belastad is asking, are there any good or notable Belarusian black metal bands? No, I don't remember, to be honest. I know that there's one Belarusian band on my review pile, but I can't remember any like really good ones, so can't say about that. Finn Wraith is asking, did I have a good Juhannus or Midsummer? Yes, I did. We had a little bit of barbecue. My bass player came here on boat. We had a little bit of barbecue and just swimming and taking it easy. Very, very basic stuff. Very sweaty, few beers and all that stuff. Yeah. Oldman is asking, how is the new Nightside material coming up? Well, we have pretty much 3 new songs ready with Nightside, 2 short and fast ones, and one more, I wouldn't say epic one, but a lengthier one. So new Nightside material is being prepared. And there are more riffs and partial songs to be rehearsed. So there's Nightside stuff is active, and I hope that Nightside will get more gigs as well and during this year. Unfortunately, I didn't catch McWhittle at Steelfest, even though that was the plan. And now that we did mention Black and Sour latest releases, yes, Black one is good, and sorry, excuse me. Oh, based on one listen, the Sour album is also good. I actually received the Sour CD yesterday, so that is soon coming out as review as well. And Sour seems to be nice. Hello, Oscar. Thank you. Thank you for your support. Therane's Black Harmony. Yeah, that is one of the golden 1990s Finnish black metal ones. Waldman, I've actually, interviewed Lost Society a couple of years ago at Tuska Festival. That is a pretty decent band. I think a good new school thrash metal. Not exactly great, but solid band nonetheless. And thanks, Hector Garcia, for your comment about Horna. Uralic Ace is asking if I saw Finland win gold medal in hockey. No, I didn't. I don't really follow ice hockey, even though it's big in Finland. Jonas Nesi is asking if I seen Vapauden Risti perform live. No, it's not really my cup of tea, but I know they have a cult following here in Finland as well. Torso is asking, have I ever tried or wanted to try some American football here in Finland? Yeah, I've been trying to see, and when I was in upper grades of elementary school, some of my friends actually started playing. I wouldn't make a great quarterback. First of all, quarterbacks are tall and they can throw. I cannot throw jack shit. I'm poor, and when it comes to throwing, I'm rather good in catching. I've noticed in various sports that I can catch ball, but I think I would be rather some kind of a runner or linebacker, but I wouldn't be a quarterback. Definitely, I would suck in that. I'm short and I'm not good in throwing. Vendel. Okay, Vendel. All right. Thanks for correcting me with that. Yeah, let's see, Hector Garcia, if Northfest is actually happening with Rauta. Hell Dweller is asking me a very interesting but kind of obvious question. I mean, by obvious, that the answer is obvious. Have I ever thought about doing Fenris from Dark Throne interview? Fuck yes. But as you can imagine, Dark Throne doesn't do gigs, so it's kind of hard to do a face-to-face interview with Fenris. Now, I hope that on one of my journeys to Norway, I will get Fenris to talk to me and do an interview. I don't know if he does those anymore. He certainly didn't participate in that Helvete documentary about Norwegian black metal a few years ago. So I don't know if he does those anymore, but let's see. It would be fucking, dream come true, given that Dark Throne is one of my, the all-time favorite black metal band. Smeagol is asking if I'm planning to do Cosmic Void Festival in London this year. No, I don't plan. The thing here is, even though if I would be going to some random festival, I wouldn't have the money to pay my camera crew to go with me. We simply don't have that much amount of money coming via Rauta's Patreon. I got to pay the Midgårdsblot hotel for myself and my photographer but that's about it. Then the money is gone and we have to start to saving once again. So that's why most of those foreign festivals are out of the equation when it comes to Rauta. I could personally go to festivals just without interviews and without a crew, but let's be honest about it. Half the reason why I go to festival these days is that I want to do interviews while at the same time I'm seeing bands. And of course, I will be prioritizing the festivals that are actually inviting me. That is, I get accredited as press, like with Midgard's Blood or Steelfest or Inferno. But yeah, if the festival like Darkness Guides Us did in 2019, they invited us over. They said that they will get us press pass and they will also get us accommodation. Well, it's a no-brainer to leave when you have nothing but flight tickets to buy, really. And of course, the beer and food you're going to buy. So the more the festivals or promoters help us to come there, the more likely we are going to do. Because, like I said, everybody has to pay the bills, and doing interviews as such costs nothing. I mean, of course, you have to have the camera and you have to be there, but I mean, if you don't take money for your work, the actual amount of work needed to do an interview, that is free. But to go to a festival, the book a room where you are accommodating, get those flights done, it all costs money. Nothing is free in this world. So that kind of limits Rauta going to places. I hope you understand this when you're requesting interviews as well. Wolfman, thank you so much about your words regarding Tom G. Warrior and From the Vastland interviews. They are among my favorite ones. I've listed actually when I had Zenial Vorskat guy a talk earlier today, like which are my favorite Rauta interviews so far. And I would say Zenial, Tom G. Warrior, From the Vastland, and the incoming Inquisition one. Those four would be my favorite interviews I've ever done, because smart people, deep conversation, and topics that are not often enough talked about. So those are my favorite ones. If you ever want to see only some Rauta content, I would say Zemiel, Tom G. Warrior, Inquisition, and I already forgot it, From the Vastland. So there's that. Oh yeah, is it like he's asking a good question about pronouncing my name? Like, since J is pronounced Y in Finnish, is my name pronounced like Jerry or in English? No. Well, I always say the Finnish people say names like they're written. So Finnish people call me Jerry, just like it is written in Finnish. But when I introduce myself to people speaking English, I always like Jerry. So I don't care if you call me Jerry or Jerry, whatever fits your mouth perfectly. I'm totally cool with that. Actually, that reminds me of how I introduced myself to Zemial's Vorskat. I'm Jerry, but you can even call me asshole if you want to. And he started laughing, and right away we bonded over bad humor. So yeah, I'm pretty flexible with that. If you want to call me an asshole or just random Finnish baldhead or fucking Marius, I don't really care. It's all good. Estebrios is asking what instruments I play. I suck at guitar, but I guess I do decent job with vocals. So I've mostly been always vocalist in my bands, Nightside and Annihilators, but I've always, of course, played guitar with Annihilators because I'm also the songwriter. Hector Garcia is asking what was my reaction when I heard there was a genre called Christian black metal. I fucking laughed at it. I fucking hated it. I remember having these conversations. I think it was late 90s about Christian black metal or white metal or on black metal as it was called. Yeah, I don't think Christian black metal can really exist. It's an oxymoron, really. It contradicts each other. You know, you really can't be Christian and satanic at the same time, really. And black metal, by definition, is satanic. Now, nowadays, kids might think different, but we're talking about when the whole genre was defined and given the idea. So it's not like suddenly you can take black metal and remove the satanic parts of all that stuff or misanthropic parts and suddenly call it Christian. It's kind of like um, coffee without caffeine or beer without alcohol. Surely you can call it beer, even there is no alcohol, but we kind of know it's kind of fake, you know. It's not like people buy beer in big amounts when it's non-alcoholic ones. Yeah, it's good to have non-alcoholic beers when you want to taste beer, but you're driving a car, right? And some people lose their sleep over caffeine, so I kind of get it. But for me, sugar-free candies, non-satanic black metal bands, non-alcoholic beers, it just fucking isn't the real deal. You know, that's just my opinion. You can feel free to disagree, but yeah, on black metal can straight fuck off. I don't care. How popular is Bottas in Finland? I don't know, but I think he's somewhat popular because Formula One has always been a big thing in Finland. Silver Snake is asking an interesting question. Hold a second. I'll light up some lights because it's getting a little bit grainy as the sun is going down. Now this should help. Now, this interesting question about what Satanism means to me. This is a tricky one because over the years my views of Satanism have changed a little bit. Back in the late 90s, I mostly defined Satanism as it was written, I guess, in those. I think it was LaVey books, you know, the kind of rules of satanic church or whatever. I think mostly it is, to me, about rebellion, to be the master of yourself and not turning the other cheek. I guess it's the pretty basic one. It has never been religious, a spiritual one, but more about rationalizing things and understanding that there are no those masters or gods. I mean, of course, you can have a boss, and there are people in power before you or above you, but they're like literally living beings. It's not like there are some entities that, yeah, I believe in this Santa Claus kind of a god or whatever. I mean, to me, that is not spiritual or religious thing. So Satanism has always been more of a philosophical approach. Basically, most things are very anti-Christian and as such anti-Islam or anti-religious in the first place. But it has never been about some kind of a violent reaction, but more a reaction to what is nonsense, you know? So it's about rationalizing things, be it about science, figuring out what the world is like, what is life all about, and not just being a doormat. Don't let people walk over you. You need to defend for yourself, speak for yourself. Your opinions are your own. You can be, and kind of should be, proud of what you are. That is, we all make mistakes, of course. And even though we have some shitty opinions, at least they're our own, you know? So, in my opinion, being a real person, you should be walking up and standing, you know, like, hey, this is me. You don't have to like me, but it's fine. I think Kurt Cobain said it really nicely this, you know, some 3 decades ago, that I'm rather be hated for who I am than be loved for who I am not. So whatever you are, be honest about yourself. Even if you have to lie every now and then. I don't say you should, but even if you have to, be honest about yourself. Like, if you don't do certain things, like, I don't feel like going to the gym today, and you make up an excuse, don't fucking make an excuse. Just say, I'm too lazy today. I didn't sleep enough, and all that stuff. Be honest to your friends or people who matter to you, and don't make bullshit, you know, excuses for anything. Like, whatever you are, if you have a shitty opinion or somebody's calling you out for your opinions which they don't like, well, say, too bad you don't like them, at least they're mine. Be ready to change your opinions based on different facts you hear. If you hear somebody saying like, hey, it's actually not like that, don't automatically go against that. Like, hey, this is my opinion and it will fucking stick. but more like, okay, now you gave me some ideas. This gave me a little bit more insight, and now I need to ponder about this thing. So all I'm saying, be smart. Don't be a dishonest person. Don't be a doormat. Be respectful. You don't really have to have so many golden rules uh, to make a decent human being. And you can even be religious person and still having what I would call satanic or satanism being kind of a golden rule in your life. But this is just my view, and if you don't like it, it's fucking fine. If you do like it, that is fine also. But in the end, whatever you do, whatever you say, stick to it. That is, be honest, and you can be proud of what you are. We're all faulty human beings. Nobody is perfect. That we have to understand. Some people are more broken than the others. They are so-called perfect human beings. They are smart, good looking, they have friends, and they are successful, and they have beautiful kids and spouses and lots of money and whatever. And some people are deaf, blind, broken mentally and physically. They don't have jack shit. Life is treating them like shit and all that stuff. But they all have this thing called life. And it's up to you to make that life worth living and be proud of what you are. It doesn't matter what age you are, what gender you are, what kind of a music taste you are, what kind of clothes you're wearing, whether you're poor or rich or, I don't know, a Martian being. But you have only one life, really. So make it worthwhile and fight all kind of depression and oppression. So don't let people just treat you like shit. If you feel like people are treating you like shit all the time, abandon those people and move to some different place. Spend your time in different places so that you can feel comfortable, whatever you are. That's all I'm saying. And these are what I would say golden rules of Satanism, if you will. Now, I know some people won't consider these rules or guidelines or rules of thumb as part of what Satanism is all about. But to me, it is goddamn close to what I read already back in the 90s about it, how I figured out my own way of life, philosophy, and all that stuff. So it's very simple. And if you treat others like shit, you're going to be treated like shit. So it's kind of a very simple to be like, hey, you don't have to be really smart to just treat people with respect. And if somebody is not worth your respect, move on. Don't waste your time on shitty people. Focus on yourself and take good care of yourself, and things will fold out nicely. Did that answer your question about how I feel about Satanism and philosophy in life? I hope that did. If not, we can talk about it later on even further. Now I'm going to roll it back about the previous question because I do notice that I gave it quite a lengthy answer to your question. What else? Well, one was commenting about Nightside material. Yes, we will play new material when time is due. So there's that. Esfrios is asking, what's the best riff you've written? I can't be the judge of my own material. Some of the riffs are better, some of them are not that good. Hard to say which one are the best ones and all that stuff. Belstad is asking, does Nightside use corpse paint or any other outfits during the live shows? The answer is yes. Nightside has always used corpse paints, and there is no reason to change that, at least as far as I know. And thank you, Sinister, for being on the stream. If you went already, thanks and bye. What else? Alex Necro Poser is asking, can I play music behind when you do these things? Well, I don't play music when I do streams, but obviously when I am at my computer, I am pretty much always listening to music. Yes, Belstad, I get it that it's a thin line. There can be non-satanic black metal, obviously. But when it comes to going Christian black metal or unblack, that is bullshit in my opinion. Finwraith, no, I haven't been watching F1 Formula One since I was a kid. It doesn't really interest me. I didn't hate it, but it's not my thing. Jarro Lamb is asking, would I be able to listen to the metal with Christian lyrics like songs instrumentation if they were preaching to you? I guess I nowadays could. There was a time when I would definitely not listen to any kind of a Christian band. But then there was this dark ambient act that kind of changed my perspective on that. And that was because the artist, Caul, Caul, said something about that this music they're making, dark ambient, is conversation with God. And I remember it being goddamn dark music. And I was like, if this is conversation with God, I want to know this Christian God because he's fucking dark. So yeah, I guess I could listen to music with Christian things and just ignore the preaching. But back in the days, I definitely would have not. And Deechester is saying is there's like two types of Satanism, theistic Satanism and Hollywood Satanism. I think there are more than that, but that's just my opinion. Torso has Annihilator's 10-inch EP and so live when I 16 or 15 or 16. Nice, that's cool to know, man. And Raul Conte is at Rock and Marine. Nice. Hello, Ginger Red Rocks. All is well here. And been a little drunk. That's fine. I had a few gin tonics myself last night. Lucas is asking, what are my favorite metal album covers? Well, there are plenty. But among my favorite are like those Bathory ones, having those Viking metal themes, or Storm of the Light's Bane by Dissection. So I'm kind of a sucker for very detailed album covers. But of course, if there's a strong message on the album cover, like Right to Lightning or And Justice for All or Master of Puppets, I like them as well. So I don't know if I have an absolute favorite among the metal album covers, but those Bathory ones could be among my favorite, especially Hammerhard. Thank you, Waldman, about my rant or view of Satanism. I know it's not for everybody, but I try to be a decent and rational human being, and if that is going to get me killed, well, so fucking be it. 24HGB is asking, what nations have the most beautiful women? Now, the thing here, there's plenty of places I haven't been to, so I cannot really say about for sure. But I know, for example, Russian, Ukrainian, that kind of women are fucking gorgeous. I remember once upon a time browsing a website that had listed some of the Russian pageants for this Miss Universum competition, and they were fucking stunning. I've seen some Russian models over the years at airports or hotels, and they always blow my mind. But let's be honest about it. I have a soft spot for example, Hispanic ladies, Latina. Wow, they can be really, really gorgeous. Also, some Brazilian ladies. Wow. Swedish blondes. I'm all in. Chinese ladies. I remember how I drooled after Zhang Ziyi, the actress for Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. So there are plenty of places which just have gorgeous women. So I cannot name a single place where they are the best looking or, the most beautiful women. There are plenty of places, so can't just pick one. But yeah, lots of beautiful women in the world. I love women. No denying that. Yeah, Gerald, I get your point about theistic, satanic people. I get it into that. Ginger Rocks is asking, am I into hi-fi and what is my system? I would say I'm in the mid-class hi-fi. So not exactly the super expensive, because to me it doesn't really make sense. I wouldn't be able to, listen and figure out all the nuances, but I never would like to go for the cheap ones as well. Now, for my second stereo amplifier in row is a Yamaha kind of a mid-price hi-fi system. I have two Yamo, or actually three frontal speakers, a couple of Jamo rear speakers, and then I have a subwoofer, which was somewhat expensive, about the price of the amplifier itself, about 600 euros, I guess. But I can't remember what manufacturer brand it was. So I'm about mid price. I think my sound system is roughly some 2,000 euros. Not too expensive, not exactly cheap. Like people buying 100 or 200 euro basic systems to listen to music. I used to have those kind of systems when I was younger and didn't have enough money, but I wouldn't go back to that. So I guess mid range is my thing. What else? D Chester is saying Cannibal Corpse has the best covers in my opinion. They really do have good ones. Also, the first Death album, Scream Bloody Gore, I freaking love it. Those skeletons having, those goblets, and it's kind of an undead themes, which I love. Merciful Fate covers, yeah, but never been my favorite band. Esperis is asking what is my favorite Inquisition album. I don't know my absolute favorite ones, but the last three albums by Inquisition have been my favorite ones over the early ones. But I don't have a single favorite. Not that one comes to my mind at the moment. Vanilla Stein is asking if I have any favorite fast black metal bands. Well, super fast bands are not exactly how I define my favorites, but among the fast ones, I guess bands like, Marduk would count, but I don't think actually none of those super fast bands are among my favorite black metal bands, because most of my favorite black metal bands are more on the mid-tempo region. I'm talking about Darkthrone or Burzum, but yeah, for example, with Nightside, we have a few blast beat songs which I just love because the intensity and the speed. So it depends on the song, actually, rather than any kind of a band. Tempo doesn't really define how I like a certain band, but I guess with death metal, fast tempo matters more than with black metal. Tim Esterberry is also asking me why did I take down the Azazel interview. Now I promised to answer you that earlier in the stream. So now let's talk about the Azazel interview for a couple of minutes. Now around 1 p.m. today, I got this phone call that there's a certain part in the Azazel interview that needs to be fixed or taken down, because there was some privacy things in the interview which didn't need to be there. So I was using YouTube's editorial tool to remove a 30-second clip from the Azazel interview so I could put it online back again. But what happened was that YouTube, hasn't still, at least before the interview, hasn't yet gone through the edited version of Azazel interview. So because I removed 30 seconds from Azazel interview, it is now under revision or whatever. So I will put the Azazel interview back online as soon as I can, but it's not up to me, it's up to YouTube. Whenever they have finished revising the edited version of Azazel interview, it will be back online. Mind you, it's only 30 seconds shorter. It's all about some family things that were removed from the interview. Nothing more important, but it will be back there. God is asking, what is my opinion, the best black metal band? Darkthrone. Alex Necro Poser asking, is the trip to Finland very expensive? Well, it depends where you're coming from. For those European countries, I think the plane tickets are relatively cheap. If you're coming from Estonia or Sweden, it's very cheap. But if you're coming from, say, South America, I guess it's quite expensive. So it depends where you're coming from. Well, so yeah, Mercenaries, I think, kind of underrated Bolthrower album. It never kind of comes to your mind when you're talking about thinking about the best Bolthrower albums, but it's really, really good album. So yeah. And Waldo, yeah, I took Azazel interview down today afternoon because of this reason I just mentioned. But it will be back, I hope, by tomorrow. I was expecting the revision to take like something like 15 minutes. So I was expecting to go with only down for a bit. But here you have, still not up. What else? Yes, Waldo, drink from the goblet of gore. Fucking great. Great stuff. Death is fucking great. All right. Thank you, Alex Rose. I think the Azazel interview was lots of fun, even though it's going to be Grinch in some opinions. That's kind of a given. But that is how the band is. Azazel are drunk. So it's very, very honest. Actually, Satanakia called me earlier, like 2 hours before the stream, like, hey, why is Azazel interview down? But obviously he doesn't talk like that. Hello, Jerry. Why the interview is down? Like, why you took it down? And I explained to him that because certain things you said about certain issues, some 30 seconds had to be removed, but it will be back. And he was like, okay. Waldo, yes, it was about certain family member names mentioned. So it's privacy things. Hector Garcia is asking me which company makes the best guitars in my opinion. I don't know. I'm not exactly a proper guitar player, so I don't have a lot of experience in various guitars. Jared Rocks is asking what is my favorite non-metal band. I kind of always want to say it's Pink Floyd, but it might be actually one of those dark ambient ones. But I keep saying Pink Floyd because that's the first thing that comes to my mind. The second would be Depeche Mode. But then again, there are bands which are more like rocking bands instead of metal, like Turbo Negro. So that could be also the answer to that. And thank you, Waldo. Yeah, I think it was very refreshing. I mean, a lot of black metal interviews, as you probably know, they're on the darker aspects and they're super serious, which I, of course, get it. I mean, even though I try to make my interviews very laid back, I try to make them relaxed. So even though we are talking about serious topics, they can be still, relaxed, with smiling faces and all that stuff. But Azazel, I mean, it was so different. I mean, it kind of reminds me of the Usurper interview, which I did some 3 years ago. That is one of those good mood interviews which I've done. A lot of laughing, lots of fun moments. But those guys were not drunk as opposed to Azazel guys. So it's obviously very different. And I think that Azazel interview is very, very honest in terms of how the band is. I mean, they drink a lot of booze. So obviously they are drunk in the interview as well. It's not for everybody. That's fucking given. But I mean, it is what it is. That's what the band is like. You really can't fake it. And it was this close to being cancelled because I had already agreed a certain time, like first it was 5 o'clock, then it was like 10 past 6, a time when we would start the interview. And then I noticed the guys coming towards me without noticing me. And I'm like, where the fuck are you going? We're supposed to start in like 5 minutes. And they're like, what? There is interview. No, we are going to leave. I'm like, what the fuck? We're supposed to do that interview in like 5 minutes. And so Idimu actually saves the day. He promises that we will be back by 7 o'clock on the first day of Steelfest. And I was like, if you're going to be late, there is no interview, because it was like my cameraman had already set up the camera. He was like waiting for us, literally waiting for us to come through the door, sit down on the benches and start talking. And instead I had to call him like, okay, Azazel guys are now gone. Let's retry in 50 minutes. And I'm waiting by the door where there's this entrance to the backstage area. And like, if they're going to be 1 minute late, we're just going to call it off. I'm not going to fucking do it because those guys are late for the second time in a way. But they made it. They were right there on time. The drummer was actually running towards me like, Jerry, let's do the interview. I was like, fuck, it's 7 o'clock, right on time. So they made it and we made the interview. But it was very close to be canceled. Like I said, if they had been there like 5 minutes late, I would be like calling them, fuck off, you fucking twats, you fucking cunts. Like, you don't get to cause these kind of delays, because I would be having other interviews instead of waiting for them, you know? It's just waste of my time. It's waste of my cameraman's time. You could be seeing bands instead of waiting for another band at the backstage area. So it's just waste of our time and it's fucking disrespectful. But like I said, it did happen and I'm happy that it happened. All right, reading your comments once again. In case you're wondering why I'm not talking, yes, Bells, that's very true. A lot of NSBM ban comes from parts that would probably not been approved by Adolf Hitler's reign of terror in Germany. That is Poland, Ukraine, Russia. There's a lot of, I mean, it's so fucking weird because Poland has a lot of NSBM bans, and Poland was seen as like second grade citizens by German Nazis in 1940s. So it's kind of a weird, I think it's kind of a Stockholm syndrome if you really think about it. It's more like, hey, we're kicking down those Polish dudes, and the Polish dudes are like, yeah, you keep hitting us. Yeah, we are going to join you. Like, what the fuck? But I don't know why people are doing that, but that's just happening. Waldman, what are you lolling at? Oh yeah, Esther has already commented this ironic thing how Nazis viewed Slavs. I totally like Slavic people. Yeah. Belstad, yeah, that's how Lord Satanaki really is. That's how he does it. If he like calls me, like today or before the interview, we had a few phone calls. He really is like that. I met him, you know, in real life a few times before we're doing this interview, and he's like that. Like always a little bit drunk, but kind of a father-like figure to the rest of the band, like taking care of his flock, if you will. But yeah, he's like that. Talking like this, we're the goblin boys, you know, and taking care of his guys. That's how the band is. It's a real deal. Thank you, Jennifer Rocks. Yes, I think honesty is the only policy, and I mean, it's one thing to just fool around and fake things like play a role, do a theatrics. Obviously, when I go stage with my band Nightside, you don't see Rauta guy. It's gonna be a different mood, and I'm gonna use different kind of words when I'm saying. It's like I'm not this talkative when Nightside is taking place. I barely talk at all. But this is how I am. For example, real life. Whether it's about me spending time with my family, friends, or on Rauta channel, this is how it is. I talk a lot. When you see me at festivals, it's going to be like this. I'm going to be smiling a lot. I'm going to be making goofy jokes. I'm going to be talking a lot. I'm going to be voicing my strong opinions. Some people can't stand it. Some people say, Jerry talks way too much. He's annoying fuck because he talks so much. And he's loudmouth. He's making jokes about everything. Nothing is sacred to him. Yeah, that's me. If you can't handle it, if you don't like it, hey, I can't help it. It's just me. And that's what I was talking about earlier when I was talking about Satanism. We are what we are. We really can't change how we're wired. Some people are introvert and they don't want to hang out with people. And they don't want to maybe talk too much. I'm extrovert. I like hanging out with people. Now, I know it might sound a little bit weird when we're talking about misanthropic scene or misanthropic music scene, but let's be honest about it. I get to pick my friends. I get to pick who I am spending my time with. And when I'm spending my time with good people, people I like or respect, why not smile? Why should I play a role and be this tough guy? Like, fuck off. We're gonna be this black metal sheriff. I don't fucking smile. I don't fucking laugh. I don't fucking enjoy my life. What the fuck? You know, we're having good time with good friends. Why not fucking laugh and make jokes, drink beers, and watch, shows? I think that's poser shit. Pose like what you're supposed to be. Oh, it's that dude from the band. He must be really intimidating. Oh, it's this Rauta guy. He must be super serious. Yeah, I'm enjoying bands like that. What the fuck, really? Life is too short to waste on being on bad mood or pretending something that you're not. So what the fuck? I make jokes, I curse a lot, and I just make weird comments and goof around. That's why I do those Marius videos and all that stuff. I spend my ways and time in a way that I can enjoy. And if it doesn't please somebody, that person can fuck off, all I care. Like I said, I'm too busy to give a fuck, really. I'm too busy to stress. So if I can please somebody, hey, too bad. Not my problem, so get the hell out of here. This is what I am, and this is what people are supposed to get when they meet. And that also applies to people playing in a band. I mean, even if you have a band and you're kind of a rock star, that doesn't mean you have to act like a dick. So all I'm saying, be honest, be what you are, be a good dude. There are lots of good people, and for example, in the Finnish black metal scene, I don't see them posing. They're being nice guys. They do their shit. They might look grim on stage, but when you get to meet those guys in person, be it backstage or among the crowd, having beers, watching shows, a lot of friendly guys. They're friendly. Why? Because they can, and they don't have a reason to pretend they're something else. They don't have a reason to play some fucking role. They don't have a reason to be a fucking poser. Posing is all about insecure fucks. The people who want to pretend so hard that they're among the idols or whatever. But once you get older, you really start to figure out, so what if he doesn't like what I represent? All I could say is, I don't give a fuck. Let me now watch this band, have my beer, and spend time with good people, my friends and all that stuff. Really, it's not that fucking hard. It's easy. So people should have way more easy time when they don't pretend, when they don't pose, but act real, honest. That's what I'm saying. Be honest and fucking enjoy your life, man. All right. Once again, I'm rambling and forgetting to answer your question. Sorry for that. And yeah, well, though, Idimu saved the day. That's true. I was kind of surprised because I didn't expect him to save the whole Azazel interview being what he is, but that it is what it is. Dananis is asking, if I were to force to say there was a black metal third wave, what bands are the originators? Now, it's hard to separate sometimes third wave from the second wave, but for example, the whole Icelandic scene is more or less or third wave. I think a lot of more avant-garde bands are already doing that kind of a third wave of black metal. I would say the second phase of Dead Spell Omega, that is after two first albums, that would be among the originators. I guess Bloodhouse Nord would be among those. So I think that's where the third wave kind of started, late 90s or at the very latest, early 2000s. But it's hard to just pick one album and say this started third wave, as much as it is hard to say this and that album started the second wave, etc. I mean, there are lots of people still who say Venom isn't black metal. Venom is a new wave of heavy metal, or Venom was kind of a proto trash metal. And there are lots of people who's like, yeah, that was the first band to start a black metal. See what I mean? It's hard to figure out which is the actual pioneer. People are still fighting about which one was the first metal band. Was it Black Sabbath because making the first metal album, or was it those bands before Black Sabbath having heavy metal parts. Like this band, I cannot. Born to Be Wild song. It says heavy metal thunder, and that is often credited as for figuring out the genre known as heavy metal. But people don't consider that band, whatever it is. I cannot remember it right now, but people don't really say that was the first heavy metal band. They were the ones that was kind of a prototypes of what heavy metal was to be. But it's hard to say for sure that this and that band started the first or second or third wave or who knows, fourth wave in some distant future. But yeah, there are lots of bands which I would call third wave, and I've been saying that in my reviews as well. Not everybody agrees. Some people still don't think there is a third wave of black metal. I think there certainly is. And for example, those Icelandic bands, which are often very dissonant and very, very different than, say, early 90s black metal bands, which were how the defined second wave of black metal early 90s. I think lots of bands with the dissonant stuff and avant-garde stuff, they are very different than what is usually known as the second wave of black metal. So I think third wave black metal is definitely real and happening. But it's up to people to either understand it or just give them another genre. Some people say, no, it's not third wave. It's just actually avant-garde is black metal. But then again, if you always keep inventing new kind of subgenres like black gaze or post-black or whatever, post this and that, I mean, that's basically saying that they are not part of the whatever you call second wave. So it's just a matter of opinion, really. But genres are tools; they are not, rules. So it doesn't really matter, in my opinion. That is. Winnow is saying like I never heard a Finnish man saying twat before. Well, I'm glad that if I made your day just by cursing a little bit. English ways. Now I don't use twat often, but yeah, British can really curse creative ways. Twat and cunt are fucking good words. I've actually reviewed this crazy Grey Misery on Rauta as well. Justinas Steve Bruce is asking, what are my insights about Finland joining NATO? I think it's a good thing. I actually signed the petition for Finland to join NATO. I think it's a good thing. Oh, Waldman, yeah, Goblin voice and lolling. I get it. I just had to ask. I was guessing that it was something related to Azazel. Hijo del Sol Negro, that is son of the Dark Sun, if I'm not mistaken with my Spanish, was asking if I'm familiar with Mesoamerican bands like Tlatlacani, Yaktital. I cannot pronounce their names. No, I'm not actually. I don't know those bands, but I think, Yakokutel in my review pile. But unfortunately, I don't. I only know Hibalba from Mexico, which I guess could fall into that category, but I don't know. Aternus, yes, I remember Aternus back in the 90s. They're kind of a doom death style. I think they had potential, but never fully clicked with me. Well, though, yes, Nightside is active. We actually played a gig in early March here in Turku, and we're looking for more gigs to be played should someone want to book us, and we're making new songs. So Nightside is active with a new lineup. And the Nightside gig is, by the way, available on YouTube. Somebody filmed the whole gig and uploaded it to YouTube, so you can find it and listen to it. Yes, Waldo, I still have time to make music. Music is my fucking passion. Like I keep saying, music is my number one drug. Number two would be coffee, beer, and other stuff. They come after. But coffee, music, lifting, and sex. 4 things that are my cornerstones. Yog Zothod is asking, how do you reach the body? I don't fucking know. What else? Yeah, Goldman, definitely don't take yourself too seriously. Make the music serious, but then goof around to balance things out. It's all about yin and yang, in my opinion. Seriousness and goofiness, jokes and being very focused on what you do. It's like lifting. You can do heavy lifts and you grin and look like a fucking ogre or goblin while doing it, and you keep those grunting sounds. And 1 minute later, you're probably laughing at whatever you did. It's like you can actually enjoy and smile while having sex, even though some people look like they're fucking in pain. You know, life doesn't have to be about living in pain. Charlie Sham is asking me if I know Catamania ever put out another album. No, I never liked the band. They were kind of a laughing stock back in the day, so I never followed them. But I know they have a following, especially outside of Finland, so I don't know. Thanks, Brian Mons. Isn't this gray atmosphere nice? I will post some photos later on. I actually had photos when this room was empty, and now I need to take another set of photos when the CDs are in place and TV and whatever are here. Vindaloo, thank you for your comment about Murkskog. I really like to do it. It was great. Great guys, good music, played a good show at Inferno. So, yeah, nice. And Zyklon, very good as well. Yeah, well said, I guess. In a way, the Black Metal Noise projects could be seen as kind of a fourth wave. Yeah, I think that's a good statement. Yes, Wolfman, Steppenwolf was the band I was looking for, but Heavy Metal Thunder in Born to Be Wild. Thanks for reminding me the name. I would try to remember the name so hard, but sometimes you don't really get those names as much or as easily as you would like to. A Vindaloo Slag. Okay, didn't know that one. Bugger is nice. Bugger is always putting in a good mood, but Slag I don't know. Lucas is asking, how have I ever counted how many music T-shirts I own? I haven't actually, and I have given away dozens and dozens of shirts. Not so many band shirts, probably, but I would imagine maybe 100. I don't know. I should count them someday. But lots of. I haven't been buying that many shirts past few years because I have so many already. So I rarely buy shirts these days. Sometimes bands send those shirts for me as part of the review, which is nice. But I can't say I really need more shirts, Brian Mons is asking, what are my thoughts on keyboards in black metal? Well, I would say keyboards are essential part of black metal, but that depends on bands. I remember back in the 90s when there were certain bands like, I think Marduk was the one, like, no clean vocals, no keyboards, no this and that. And I think it was a statement back in the days when bands like Emperor and Enslaved, Satyricon were using keyboards to, create this atmosphere. So the more symphonic black metal became, or more atmospheric, the more keyboards you were hear, as opposed to bands, as raw black metal like Ildiarn, or first wave black metal such as Bathory, and it was all about fierce guitars and drumming and vocals. But in my opinion, keyboards definitely have a place. And of course, I'm going to say I'm biased because my work with Nightside. Then again, Annihilators never had keyboards as such. So in my opinion, it depends. There are bands where keyboards are just useless, and there are bands which totally should and could use keyboards. Like this band that I reviewed this week. It's not out yet, but there was this Italian band, Nazgul Rising, and they made some kind of emperor type of pretty symphonic, melodic black metal, and they had a lot of keyboards, not overwhelming amount, but still, and it fucking fits very well. So there are bands which are definitely using keyboards properly, and I think that's good. But there are bands where keyboards just don't fit. Really that simple. When it comes to death metal, keyboards are a little bit weird. But there are bands like Nocturnus which used keyboards in good fashion on the Key album, for instance, which is often seen as the first death metal album with keyboards. So I think keyboards can really fit all kind of music if you really want to, but you don't need to have them. It depends how you use them. Ginger Red Rocks, I must say, I don't have any interest in political black metal as such. One of the things which I've always liked in, black metal is about this rebellion I talked about earlier. And as such, I don't feel conservative politics, such as right wing bands have, is something that I can really enjoy in black metal. Now, I can enjoy some music no matter what the ideology is behind the band, but really, as default, I kind of shun away from political black metal. So if there is a NSBM bands, I am not exactly super keen about it. But that same thing also goes for red anarchist black metal. I don't need to have napalm death or ball thrower or any kind of that stuff in my black metal. If I want to have things about society and that stuff like that, I'd rather go for grind and trash metal, where it fits, in my opinion, way better. Yeah, Waldo, I would be happy if you would see Nightside live. I think we played a good gig, and I think we have something to give in terms of Nightside. Esfrios, I still haven't heard the Pale Swordsman. I've heard that people are praising that album, but I haven't had the time to listen to it. And now I become dead. He's asking if Firebox records still going. I don't know, but I don't think it is. I think it was replaced one way or another by Inverse Records. Ginger Rocks is asking how many CDs or records I do own. I haven't counted, but I have some kind of idea based on how many CDs go in particular shelves. It's probably between 700 and 800. Plus, there are plenty of boxes, which I don't actually include in my catalog. I just found a couple of boxes when I was emptying the office for renovation, and there's probably around 100 more, but I have to listen to them to figure out whether or not I'm going to sell them or put them in my collection. Then, of course, I have some 350 reviewable CDs. So technically speaking, my collection is somewhere between 1,000, 1,200 plus vinyl. I don't have too many vinyl. I have never bought too many LPs in my life, less than 10. But now I have a few dozen vinyl ones because I've gotten so many for review. Now, I don't keep bad albums. If I have kept all the albums I've reviewed in my life, I would have more than 7,000 albums. And do you really think I could fit 7,000 albums here? No, I could not, because it would be 10 times the amount I have. Now I have only these 5 CD towers, which you can see behind. Now imagine this 10 times. 50 towers. I wouldn't have the room for it. Even if I just use all the room in the cupboards and whatever, I couldn't fit those. And why would I even keep albums which are like 6 out of 10? Now, there's the reason why I don't have even 1,000 CDs in my collection, even though I've reviewed more than 6,000 by now, or something like that. Anyway, so I would say the official answer is 700 to 800 CDs, plus the ones I have for review, 350, and then some uncategorized, uncatalogued, which are roughly some 400 or more than the collection I have. What else? I'm sorry to hear about your friend Waldman, but I'm also happy to hear that he didn't take himself too seriously. Yeah, Emperor Enslaved split is good, especially the enslaved side, in my opinion. Hello, Dimi Fisher. How are you, man? Yeah, Morbid Angel has some keyboard parts, but not too much, not too dominating. Esther is asking my thoughts on Damar's demo. I haven't heard it, can't comment it. Now I'm Become Death is asking a question which I already answered before. Like what shows are coming up in Finland? And there is this Metal Fucking Hell in the September, I think. There is Metalli Helvetti Summer Party next weekend. Might be going. There's Anthrax playing in my home city, Turku. I think it was in October. And then there's Notfest, which I might be attending in early August. Beyond those plans in September and August, I really don't know. I mean, I have no idea if there could shows happening in November or December. Then there's Amon Amarth, Vata and Abath playing in, I think, Tampere and Helsinki around October or November. But I'm not sure about November and December, so there's that. Interesting question. What do I think about Immutable's drum sound? I don't remember if I have even heard Immutable. Can't at least remember any kind of a particular drum sound Miss Huga has been using. Lucas is asking what are top 3 metal scenes in my country. Or by country. Okay. I guess still Norwegian counts. But, metal scenes, I mean, it's hard to say because whether you're talking about thrash metal or death metal or black metal or any kind of metal, in a way, I would like to say USA because USA has a lot of good bands still out there, but it's a big country. Norway still has plenty of good fucking bands. But then again, it's hard to, compare small countries such as Norway to USA. So it's a kind of a trick question. We would have to be more specific scenes to give a proper answer to that. But I like, for example, Finnish scene. I like Norwegian scene. I like US scene, if you will. So there's that. But then again, there are good bands, for example, in Germany or France, UK, but I don't know how intact any given scene in those countries is. Is it like you're asking me, have I been nervous the first live show I played? Yes, I've been nervous every fucking show where I played. So there's that. Now I'm Become Death asking about my impression of Tom G. Warrior. He's a humble and good man. You should definitely watch the interview I had and you would figure it out. But he's in my opinion, a great, warm-hearted person. I really respect the guy. Brian Mons, no any North American plans. I mean, we're hardly through COVID-19, so no ideas when to travel to North America again. I hope someday, but with Rauta, not so likely because it costs a lot of money. No, I've never been to Austria. Vlad asked that. Lex Beltram, thank you about the Tom G. Warrior interviews. It's also, in my opinion, one of the best ones I've made. Esther is asking what records am I thinking of getting. I have a small list on my, so-called want list. It's not exactly very big. There are some albums, for example, Absolute Tyranny, Blood Red Throne's latest one, Kraft's White Noise and Black Metal album, Funeral Mist's Hecatomb, Gorgon's The Wail of Darkness, Hypocrisy albums, Leaks, Carnage, Morbid Angels, Kings of Disdain. I noticed I'm missing Necrophagia's The White Worm Cathedral, which I should have, but I don't. There's some Origin and Russian Circle albums I should have. Fimbulwinter by Satanic War Master. Now I'm thinking of getting Typo Negative's October Rust. My Typo Negative where's the best ranking videos coming later out this month. And I've noticed I missed one Ergehal album. So there are plenty of albums which I should have, but I don't. But my want list is not that big. I keep updating it whenever I notice that I love some album which I don't have on a CD, but I should. So there's that. Demi Fisher is asking, would I be interested to do more comic book reviews? Definitely. I would definitely like to review more comic books. If they're sent my way, I will fucking do it. Belstead is asking, best DSM band in my opinion. Probably Abyssic Hate, but I also like old Shining. So Shining or Abyssic Hate? Hellfire Kitchen is asking why, in my opinion, Norway does not produce many great black metal bands. You mean again versus first and second wave? I think it's a generational thing. Maybe black metal kind of fell out of fashion. Maybe the new people don't just like it. Maybe a lot of things in the past, like Vikernes and the murder, is overshadowing it. Hard to say for sure. We should have to ask Norwegian people about it, like why they are not young black guys playing black metal that much. There are newer bands coming from Norway which are good quality, but most of the better ones are, by old guys, such as Hordem Rye, for instance. So I don't know what's going on with that, but it will take time with the young guys to figure it out once again. But of course, trends come and go. Black metal was trending in the early 90s in Norway, much like death metal was trending in Sweden, Stockholm area in the early 90s. Now things are different. So different times, different trends, different ideas people are going through. So there's that. Waldman is asking, best heavy metal band in my opinion. That is Wasp. Definitely Wasp. Has been my favorite heavy metal band since I was a kid. John Gebert, I don't think I got Hell Militia album from Season of Mist. There was a time when Season of Mist wasn't really promoting and sending CDs at all. They changed their things a couple of years ago, and now things are working nicely. Yeah. DM, have I what? You ask me, have you? Okay, you mentioned later on. Horn album, Verzel. I don't think I have. It doesn't ring a bell anyway. Now I'm Become Death. Welcome to Finland, and let me know if I'm around. Maybe we could meet over beers. If not, I don't know. Demi Fisher. I'm now reading actually Peter Steele biography, and I will do a review of that as well later on. It was kind of eye-opening to finally listen through all the Typo Negative albums 3 times before making my video. I won't reveal my list, but I must say I started to like some of their music more than I could, because I kind of disliked the band in the 90s, but now I think otherwise. So it was very refreshing. Yeah, Peter Steele was legend, and I can very much relate to his sense of humor based on the book I've been reading. About 190 pages now. Thank you, Belstad. It was nice to have you here in stream. I'm going soon anyway as well. Been over 90 minutes so far. Brian Mons is asking, trick question, Horn or Sargeist? That is a tricky one because both are of good quality. Now, if a gun was pointed on my head and I had to pick only one, I would say Horna. But it would be a hard fight. And yes, Hellfire, Wasp totally rules. What else? Winder is an incredible band, and did a ranking video for Winder as well. For me, it's kind of too cheesy and too melodic, but I really get why people love it so much. Korskorpi never got into that style as well. Vraid is also a little bit different, and Vraid I have interviewed 3 years ago. Do I think there are any Finnish bands that are similar? Um, Not quite. I think Windir's and Vraid's very super melodic style is quite, I don't know if unique, but I don't think we have that melodic bands in Finland. Sielun Vihollinen is very, very melodic though, but also a little bit different. All right, Hellfire, glad to know you're a typo fan. Have you read Peter Steele biography? And definitely now that Vlad mentioned Austria, I would fucking love to go Austria and Switzerland. That was actually planned for vacation this year during the renovation thing going on here, but we had to cancel it for various reasons. But maybe someday I will get to visit Austria and Switzerland. I would fucking love to see the Alps and the atmosphere of those two countries. Timmy Fisher Cathedral never been my thing. Then again, I haven't really been listening to it like ever properly. I think the last time I heard Cathedral was in the 1990s. So who knows? Maybe I would enjoy it more nowadays. But hard to say without listening. Oh, Lucas, yeah, I should do workout videos. I've been skipping those a lot because I haven't been filming really any of my workouts. But now that you reminded me, I probably should. There just has been so many reviews coming out all the time, and now their interviews are more frequent. So there hasn't really been time to fit those slots for workout videos. But I try to fit them in my schedule once again. Thanks for reminding, by the way. Destroyer is asking me if I like Manowar. Manowar fucking kills. Yeah, it's the best gym metal, gym band. Best workout band, Manowar, definitely. Yeah, Manowar is great. I pretty much like all the stuff they have done. Oh, and was asking what is the band I mentioned. I'm not saying they are really like Raid, but a little bit like Windir, being very melodic, but the melodic style is a little bit different. Favorite Horn album, if I can't be Evangels of Satan, well, it would be hard because I really am not that much of a fan of Horna. The latest one was good though, but most Horna albums are not exactly so good that I would want to have them in my collection. So if I can't choose Evangels of Satan, I guess I would have to pick the latest one. What else? Libius is asking what are my thoughts of Xisma. Yeah, they are from the same city. Uh, I used to like Xisma a lot. Actually, more after their death metal era when they're playing album like Lotto. You know, they had those kind of rock and groovy stuff that was just so catchy. I still remember some of the riffs. I actually learned some of the riffs when I started playing acoustic guitar. But no, nowadays I don't really listen to Xisma. I've seen Xisma a few times. I think at least 2, 3 times back in the days when they were active. But you know, since they kind of quit and changed their style, I kind of gave up with that. I don't know if it actually no, it wasn't the lottery. It was deluxe album, which I am talking about. Yeah, and no problem. I hope you like Silon Violinen, one of the best Finnish black metal bands in my opinion. Um, what else? Yeah, I guess Havukruunu is a little bit windirish, not just as melodic or cheesy, I guess. Oh, Dimi Future, nice to hear about George Scolia's. Nile is fucking good. One of my favorite death metal bands. What is the best clandestine blaze? Really can't decide. I'm undecided. There haven't been listening to clandestine blaze for years, but I noticed once again when I was unboxing those CDs back to my collection, the shelf, that I have so many Clandestine Blaze albums. I should revisit them. But as always, there's a problem with time when you have more than 300 review CDs here. No idea, Charles, about the new Antimateria. No idea, unfortunately. The show was good at Steelfest, so all I can say, yeah, it would be nice to hear some new stuff from them as well. All right, guys, I think it's time to go. It has been almost 2 hours by now, so let's make it 4 minutes. Final questions. Do I like Grand Belial Ski? Never been a big fan of that. I've heard here and there their music, but hasn't really clicked with me. I don't have a favorite Shape of Despair release. I'm not a big fan of Funeral Doom. Do I like big women? Well, I prefer more skinny and petite women. All sizes of women can be, of course, pretty and beautiful, but I am definitely more the petite and skinnier type, or fit type, if I can just pick my favorite type. Not that I get to choose women, so there's that. Doing a Grima band? No, I don't know Grima, unfortunately. Yeah, Digester, let's say obese women are the type I kind of dislike. But if I get to choose big breasts or small breasts, it doesn't really matter. Small butts or big butts, small butts, definitely. But mid-size boobs, they're the best. Brian Mons is asking, please answer this question. Google Translate never gives me a good response. What does antimateria kun aukeaa mysteerit kuolemaan mean? When the mysteries of death I mean, they're kind of like open, but when the mysteries of death open, it doesn't make sense. So instead of open, it's more like unveiling, I guess. When the mysteries of death unveils, something like in that direction. Kun means when. Aukea is more like almost like poetic opening, or opens up. Mysteerit is obviously mysteries, and kuoleman is deaths. Kuolema, death, kuoleman is deaths. So yeah, I hope that answered your question. I'm always happy to translate Finnish names to English if people need that. Have I heard Octinomos Welcome to My Planet album? Unfortunately, I haven't. And I do not know Lebanese band Cation. Mark, I mean, obese is different than fat. Obese is like super fat. But yeah, I do not prefer fat women. I know some people like big women, and that's fucking fine. But like I said, I prefer petite and fit. Like if I wanted to have my dream groupie girl, they would be fit women liking metal and bald guys. Unfold might, yeah, do as well. It's an interesting question if it's ever possible to interview Trey from Morbid Angel. Now, I have met Trey of Morbid Angel back in, let me think, 2006, 2005, something like that, at Numirok, and we had this great conversation backstage with him. But unfortunately, there was no recorder or anything, so it was very, very off the camera, off the mic. But I guess it's theoretically possible if they come to Finland once again, play a show, and I will try to get them. I've seen Morbid Angel play in Finland a couple of times, So I don't see why it would be impossible, but I don't know. It depends. It depends. And Jeff from Carcass. Yeah, I guess it's theoretically possible. They played a show here in Finland at Tuska, but I didn't attend Tuska this year, so didn't get the chance to ask. Last time I was in Tuska, all the big bands were exclusive to some bigger media, so I get only interview smaller bands, which kind of sucks. So I don't know. Charles Sham, I have a kid and I'm married, hence the ring. My wife probably wouldn't care if I had some groupie stuff. I don't know. Ask her. Will I go to Nordic Metal Cruise in 2023? I hope to go. That's my plan anyway. Yes, Brandmons, I'm happy if I can help you with translation. Waldman, I already answered. I don't know Lebanese band Kateon or Kateon. Or Mark 13. I'm happy that you had that experience. Thank you, D. Chester, for being on the stream. Thank you, people, for being part of the stream here. Almost 2 hours in. Next stream is supposed to take place in August. Whether it's early August or mid-August, I don't know. Mid-August, I will be anyway traveling to Norway, Midgårdsblot. And early August, there might be this Snotfest. So I don't really know when the next stream is going to take place. But I'm planning early August or mid-August. So depending, once again, whether or not I am taking part of festival. Thanks for your great questions. You had really, really good and nice questions this time. Once again, it's always nice to talk to you guys and give a little bit more insight what Rauta is all about, what I'm thinking, and also to answer your questions, whether it's about translations or thoughts about this and that. If I can help you about music, finding good music, doing interviews or festivals or whatever, I am more than happy to do that. So you can always ask me things and I'll answer the best of my qualities and skills. So all that. Now, good night and see you with the next stream, and stay tuned for next interview next Friday. It's going to be Swiss industrial black metal band Borgne. That is already out for Patreon supporters, and it will be going public next Friday. So stay tuned for that. And still 4 more interviews after that from Steelfest 2022. So stay tuned for interviews, and good night. Cheers. Good night.